and thank you for coming out to our press conference. I'm Jillian Graber. I'm a mother of two and executive director of Protect Penn-Trafford, a citizens group working to ensure our safety, security, and quality of life is protected from the effects of unconventional gas development in Penn-Trafford and surrounding communities. Protect PT has been working in our community for 2 years, educating ourselves and community members, engaging local government, and empowering people to voice their concerns. We are holding this press conference today to announce our challenge to the Penn Township Zoning Ordinance, specifically the mineral extraction overlay. The intended purpose of an overlay district, according to the Commonwealth Court, is to supplement an existing zoning district, not supersede them. This overlay allows unconventional gas development, a highly industrial process in 60% of Penn Township, including areas zoned primarily for residential development and agriculture. In this irrational scheme, giving preferential treatment to a single industry so they can operate in an otherwise non-industrial zone, permitting a dangerous industrial process responsible for air and water pollution, numerous incidents of fire, explosion, physical injury, and even death in proximity to our homes, schools, playgrounds is unacceptable. We feel the MEO violates the standards of an appropriate overlay district and is in direct conflict of the township's comprehensive plan. This overlay is a misuse of the township's police power and undermines the future of our community's property values and development. It is invalid and unconstitutional because it fails to promote the public safety, health, morals, and welfare of the people. Residents will suffer damage to the use of and enjoyment of their property, livelihood, and economic interest. Westmoreland County is currently developing a comprehensive plan to promote growth in population and economic development. We feel that this ordinance inhibits growth and discourages families and young professionals from moving to our neighborhoods. Instead, our township is pandering to a boom and bust industry with temporary jobs and non-resident employees with no investment here. Last summer, Penn Township was sued in federal court for $380 million by Apex Energy LLC after the zoning hearing board denied their permits because they were incomplete and would violate the constitutional rights of the citizens. In a recent settlement conducted behind closed doors without public input, the township gave into industry pressure and ended the lawsuit with protections that we feel are vague, inadequate, and give no vehicle for enforcement. If this township and county would listen to the residents and not cater to industry, this would promote growth and keep us safe at the same time. We have been consistent in our message. We have done everything we possibly can, from a petition to talking with our local officials and asking the township to keep industrial processes in industrial zones. Now we have to take this next step to get rid of the MEO. I have assembled a small group of mothers and health professionals to talk with us today. First up, I have Patrice Tomczyk from Moms Clean Air Force.
Thank you, Jillian. Good evening, everybody. My name is Patrice Tomczyk, and I'm the mother of 2 boys and a field organizer for Moms Clean Air Force. This is a nationwide community of over 1 million parents that are united in fighting air pollution to protect children's health. I live in Butler County, which is a heavily fracked county, and have a natural gas well pad 1/2 mile away from my children's schools. This makes me worried every single day about the health and safety risks of sending my children to school. My concerns of fracking, health and safety risks are echoed by all of the Western PA communities I visit as a part of my job. The one thing I hear the most from those who live in the communities and their community leaders is nobody anticipated the amount of industrial operations that drilling would bring literally to their backyards. All the supporting infrastructures needed to get the gas to market, such as pipelines, compressors, processing facilities, and etc., and also those thousands of trucks. They litter the landscape, turning the municipality into an industrial zone. Along with the industrial operations of fracking come the inherent health and safety risks. When placed near where children live, go to school, and play, this increases safety risks due to the threat of accidents that can expose children to toxic chemicals, explosions, and extreme heat from hot fires. Health risks are due to exposure from air pollution, including methane, particulate matter, and volatile organic compounds that are known to cause asthma attacks, respiratory diseases, and cancer. Children and developing fetuses are especially vulnerable to pollutants because their bodies are still developing. In fact, children's brains and lungs develop well into their early 20s. There have been 2 studies that have been done right here in Western Pennsylvania, one in Western Pennsylvania, that show there's a link between pregnant women's proximity to fracked wells with adverse birth outcomes. These negative birth outcomes are birth weight, preterm birth, and problem pregnancies. Letting unknown health and safety risks to children into the township is unacceptable, and it is absolutely tragic that these moms have been left to fight on their own for their children's health and safety. Penn Township's elected leaders need to act like leaders, and they need to do their job, which is to protect all of the residents' health and well-being. Parents send their children to school each day and tuck them in each night, expecting to do so in safety and not next to an industrial source, posing serious health and safety risks. Thank you.
Next, I have Erica Leonard. She's a medical doctor and a Penn Township resident. And a mom.
Thank you, Jillian. Hello, my name is Erica Leonard. I'm a mother of 2 children in preschool, a resident of Penn Township, and a physician educated at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. I specialize in family medicine, hospice, and palliative care. As a medical professional, I am concerned for our most vulnerable populations, including children and the elderly, and for all people impacted by this heavy industrial development. Many of the citizens affected by these developments are people that have invested their entire lives in this community. Others have recently moved here. Others are young and have known no other home than this. All of us deserve our township's commitment to ensuring optimal air and water quality and our overall safety. I'd like to read a statement from Dr. Ned Kettier, MD, a fellow with the American Academy of Pediatrics Council on Environmental Health and a consultant with the Southwest Pennsylvania Environmental Health Project and a board member of Physicians for Social Responsibility. In a statement prepared for this press conference, Dr. Kettier writes, "Shale gas development, like other heavy industrial activities, should not be situated in close proximity to residences, neighborhoods, or schools, places where children live, learn, and play. Well-known and harmful air toxins are emitted from every point of shale gas development. For example, particulate matter, volatile organic compounds, ground-level ozone, methane, and carbon dioxide all have negative health impacts, such as cancer, lung diseases, heart attacks, neurologic damage, and diminished lung function. The entire footprint of unconventional gas development, from well pads to pipelines, fugitive leaks, and intentional venting of these air toxins makes the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat less safe for us all and contribute to climate change. No credible scientist ever said, exposure to air pollution is safe for human health. No credible physician ever said, breathing air polluted with particulate matter and VOCs is not harmful. No credible pulmonologist ever said, ground-level ozone affects every human's lung function except yours. No credible cardiologist ever said, air pollution from natural gas production is less harmful to your heart than emissions from coal. No credible psychiatrist ever said, it's just another gas well, relax. No credible pediatrician ever said to a concerned mother, air pollution is fine, your kids won't suffer. No credible climate scientist ever said, our atmosphere can handle more carbon dioxide emissions and methane leaks. And yet we, as scientists, as physicians, as policymakers, as citizens, as humans vulnerable to the toxic health effects of air pollution, we continue to allow the ongoing fouling of our air, water, and soil by industries that have economics as their driving principle and very little regard for the public's health. After decades and decades of scientific and medical research looking at occupational and environmental exposures of toxic substances, It's a wonder how we fool ourselves and allow ourselves to be fooled time and time again that everything is okay, that pollution is the cost of progress, that there is nothing to see here. Earth is a closed system. What happens here stays here. What goes up comes down, eventually, gets into our bodies and makes many of us, your friends and neighbors, family members, including your children, and perfect strangers, sick. We can't move away from shale gas development. This is our home. We don't have another planet to go to, other air to breathe, other water to drink. This is all we've got right here and right now. Our children deserve to stay here and live healthy lives. After all, Pennsylvania's Constitution grants all of us, the right to clean air and clean water. We all deserve that. That is what the good citizens of Penn Township are demanding. Thank you.
And next we have Lauren Dangry. She is a resident nurse and a medical outreach coordinator with Southwest Pennsylvania Environmental Health Project.
I am here today as a nurse concerned with not only the environmental impact of gas drilling, but the subsequent health impact. The knowledge that the environment around us affects our health is something that every nurse since Florence Nightingale has understood. It is time that our policymakers understand this too. Government decisions on this issue should not be made without adequately addressing the health impact. Known air emissions from oil and gas drilling contain contaminants that have been proven to have short-term and long-term health effects, even at low levels of exposure. At the Southwest Pennsylvania Environmental Health Project, we have seen complaints consistent with recognized irritant properties of the acknowledged emissions from the oil and gas industry. The most common of these complaints include nose and throat irritation, sleep disruption, and headaches. Other common complaints are cough and shortness of breath, fatigue, nausea, dizziness, and skin rashes. When analyzing symptoms, the Environmental Health Project looked only at people living within a half mile of the oil and gas activity. Due to the prevalence of symptoms within this range, we recommended at least 1 mile setback distance from any oil and gas activity. We also recommended testing of air and water quality for anyone within a 3-mile radius of oil and gas structures. The 600 feet setback distance required by the township is grossly insufficient, as even a 1 mile setback distance is a conservative estimate. It is important to reinforce that our most vulnerable populations, those most affected by air pollution, are our children and anyone with pre-existing health conditions. While air pollution may appear to have no effect on a healthy adult, for children with asthma or adults with cardiovascular disease, it can mean a trip to the emergency room. As a healthcare provider, I support the citizens of Penn Township in challenging an ordinance that would expose its citizens to such a health risk. Thank you.
And last we have Lois Bauer Bjornson, an organizer with the Protect Our Children Coalition and Clean Air Council. Lois?
Hi, so my name is Lois Bauer Bjornson, and I live in Washington County. And I had something prepared today, but after listening to everyone, they covered a lot of it, so I want to share with you my experiences of living in Washington County. When we moved to Washington County, we had absolutely no oil and gas infrastructure. To date, we are surrounded by 33 wells. On each one of those well pads are 8 to 10, up to 20 wells. We also are surrounded by compressor stations, holding ponds, above ground holding ponds, residual waste tanks, truck traffic that is endless. So I'm here to tell you that this is about accountability for industry and townships. They need to stand up, as our township has not, and we are completely infiltrated with the oil and gas industry. As far as schools are concerned, my nephew's school is the Bethlehem Center School District. My nieces and nephews attend there. They have 5 wells within a mile radius of the school. So there's cancer-causing agents in their water. They have to drink bottled water, and there's also open pit mining behind the school. Fort Cherry School District has 22 wells around it, and 6 more are permitted. I have friends whose children go to school there, and they are benzene exposed directly from the well pads through the air. Ringgold School District has well pads near it. McGuffey School District has well pads near it. All of these children are suffering harms through the air and our water. Benzene comes out of every process. So does formaldehyde and a lot of the other terrible toxins that you see. So I'm here to tell you to please stand with Jillian and protect our children and protect PT, and encourage your township to stand up against industry because it doesn't get any better. Thank you.
Thank you, Washington County.
Thank you, everyone. That wraps up our press conference, and thank you so much for all you guys coming out, and our speakers. And one last thing, we just want to say no to the MEO.
Yes.